Hello everyone, my name is Nicole Miyuki and this is Let's Make Art, and we are here for a monthly Let's Make Art Matter. And if you're wondering what that is, it's our monthly thing where we come together as a community to create postcards for someone, an individual or person that we may not know but is going through a hard time. And we want to uplift them with some art. So this month we are doing postcards for Vicky. There's going to be 3 different ones I'm going to go through really quickly. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to explain, Vicky is an individual who was nominated by her sister-in-law, or brother sister-in-law, but I wanted to read what she wrote because it touched my heart, so it's better in her words. It says, Vicky is a person with a big heart. She is a kind of woman who takes care of others first. She tries to be strong and tries to see things positively, but my sister and I heard her crying in a bathroom one time and was very devastated of what's happening in their situation. All she can think of is worried, sick of who will take care of her husband. And this is what got me. There are times we see people who put on a happy and strong face, but oftentimes we really don't know what they are going through. So I'm sure that is something that there's a lot of people in your life that have a happy face. Even sometimes here at Let's Make Art, we have hard days, but it's the people that are inside that we want to love on and care for because they're probably the people who are the strongest, but no one really thinks to take care of them. So Vicky, this is for you. And there was also a little backstory on the fact that she was mugged in Oakland, which is kind of near where I'm from. So I think also when I read that it was close to home from where I grew up. But she was mugged, but that wasn't even the worst part. I guess when she was mugged, she had surgery and she was okay. She went back for a routine checkup and she found out she had stage 3 lymphoma. Yes, stage 3 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. And so she's going through that. She's been through radiation. She lost all her hair. But the coolest thing is that when her sister-in-law submitted her was that it was less worry about her as a person and her cancer treatment and more about Vicky was worried about her husband and who was going to take care of him because I guess he is a walker. So that's why I chose Vicky. I wanted to give her some love, and I'd love for this community to join along with me. So what we're going to be doing is these 3 different postcards, and really quickly I'll do the colors for Keenan. We're going to do magenta, so we're doing our watercolors. Magenta, deep yellow, and Tahoe blue. Oh, and gold. So we are doing gold gouache, which this month we've done, and I wanted to bring it back for you guys. So if you don't have gold, it's okay. You can still do this project with us. Need a little bit more. There's gold. So those are the 4 different colors. Now, when we're looking at this, oh, also this is, you can put that there so I know who I'm painting for, who we're painting for. Addie was last month. Did I say it's August? I don't even know if I said what month it is. It's August. July was last month that we did a card for Addie. So you can go back and do that as well if you'd like. Okay. There are 3 different options that we're doing. Also, before I forget, sorry, if you want to join us and you're not part of our box, you can email to get Vicky's address at hello@letsmakeart.com and we'll send that over to you so you can get that on over to her. I wanted to show how you can do really quick just washes. This is one of my favorite things about watercolors and about lettering is that if you're in a bind and you don't have any time, you can do this project. We're going to do it in 15 minutes. I'm going to say that out loud. We're going to do it really fast, and so if you don't have a lot of time, this is an easy way to still make something and have it be meaningful, but still look cool. First one is, I'm going to show you how to do, I'll do this one first. So this is a full wash. Actually, we're going to switch. I want to do this one first. I am going to use, if you have either a 6 if you are part of our watercolor box, or I'm just using my aquash brush. For this one, what I did was I used blue. So this is just I'll mix it up. I did it upside down. I was thinking too many things at once.
You got that timeline now. Now you're
I know. Now I'm
nervous.
like, gotta get it done. All I'm doing is drawing a circle. Nothing special. Then I'm gonna mix, and I'm gonna take some pink and I am just gonna mix it in. So it was personal preference. I just decided to do it a circle in the middle, but if you want, you can have it go out further if you want to be bigger. Maybe I'm gonna add in some more pink down here. Everyone's is gonna look different. So it's okay if yours does not look exactly like mine. Maybe I'm gonna add a little.
You should mention on the first one what was still on your brush and how cool it looks if you look really close.
Yes, thank you, Keenan. Actually, we can try and do that again. So if you can see on here, there was some gold. So we had just filmed a project and I had gold on here already. So when I was making this, I don't know if you can see, there's some shimmer. So obviously the lettering's in gold, but there's shimmer that you can see on there. I don't think there's any more on here. We can do that though. I'm just gonna add some, just add some gold in there on accident. But we did it on purpose this time. So there's just a shimmer of gold in there. I want to even this out. Okay, yeah, so it says a shimmer of gold. So that's gonna dry. We're doing all the washes first so then it can dry. Next one is, this is a full wash. So instead of this one was just in the middle, I'm going to use, you can either use your round zero, this is not the round zero, the aqua wash brush, but I'm gonna use just a wash wide brush. So if you don't have this, it's okay, you can still do it and use the round, what did I do? I mixed magenta and a little bit of yellow. So you can either mix it in your own palette or I'm just gonna dip in each side. So when I'm doing this, I actually hold it up. It's kind of just personal preference. I just hold it up and then I am using the belly, so the wide part of this brush, and I'm parallel to the paper. I'm gonna pick up some yellow. And I'm just going like that. Then use my finger and I blend from there. So the circular motions help to not create a harsh line. I think I like to hold it now that I think about it, is because you notice that it's bending. I just rebend it while it's going. So I did an ombre wash, so it goes dark to light. That's again personal preference, but you can do that if you'd like. And then if you want a more saturated color at the bottom, I'm just gonna dip in some in my brush and then I'm gonna scrape off on the edge and then let it do its thing. That looks really pretty. Okay, done. Last one. Are those in the shot still?
Now they are.
Okay. The last one was just a fun one that I wanted to add some splatter to it. Yeah, this is having, it's doing a cat.
It's doing
the cat, the yoga cat.
Paper can do yoga.
Okay, so to do, it's okay. I'm just gonna get a paper towel. Our table's fine, but. Okay, I'm going to add splatters. I know when Sarah does it, she goes like this, right?
Yeah.
So that is also an option. That I have, yeah, I've done that and I've actually squirted on myself. So what I like to do is I just get a lot more water probably than usual. And, well, Vicky's other one can have more. All I'm doing is I'm lightly tapping my brush. If you want to mix up colors. So by having more water, it'll just be easier to come off of your brush, the paint will. So this is how you make really little splatters actually. I guess it's because I'm using my small brush. If you want, you can also scoot back a little bit. Oops. This also works. I know I'm wearing white. It's probably making some people nervous. But that's also an option. If you want bigger splatters, I would just get more on here. and then get closer. But this is just a fun, easy one. I'm sure all the kids are going to love this. So this is a fun thing. If you want, you can barricade yourself if you don't want to get your table messy.
I'm a big fan of the paint splatters.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because they're fun or because they look cool?
Because they look cool and they're fun.
Oh, there's
all the reasons.
All the reasons.
But they look great on a tulip that I can paint.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I can do more, but I'm gonna just let it go. Okay, now, wow, that tried pretty fast. We haven't paused this video. That was like 5 minutes. That's dry. This, on the other hand, we need it. I'm just reshaping this. So with watercolors, so the, should have mentioned this. If you don't have our box and you don't have the Let's Make Art Matter cards, you can also just cut watercolor paper. It's 4x6 for a postcard. There, I just reshaped it. But when you watercolor paper buckles, if you have too much water on it, so that's normal if it happens. Usually what I do is during it, I'll try and shape it. Or if it's completely dry and you noticed it, just overnight stack a whole big stack of books or anything heavy on top of it, and it will reflatten itself somewhat, but better than before. Okay, that's the watercolor part for the washes. Now we're gonna do the lettering. So when you're going to do your lettering, I like to do this is I like to draw thumbnail sketches. Thumbnail sketches are essentially just little sketches of any ideas on layout purposes. So you'll see here that I was playing with even mixing up. Do I do some block font? Do I do it at an angle? Do I mix it up and have three different lines or 2 lines? So this was my just getting all my ideas out of my head. I liked doing it at an angle, so that's what I did for this one. If you want, you can also sketch it out in pencil first. I'm just gonna freehand it just to show you guys, but we're gonna be using gold gouache. So gold gouache is, if you notice and you're looking at my palette, it's a thicker paste. So it comes in a tube like this that you can also get on our website, or if you have our kit, we have it where it comes, and we gave you some that comes in a little jar. What you need to do is you are going to, I already scooped some out. I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to it. So we're trying to make a more liquid consistency. It's not exactly the same consistency as watercolors that you're going for. It's a little bit thicker than that. So when you're painting with it, let's see, I'm going to eyeball. So if you are eyeballing this and you were trying to figure out where to start your thinking, pretend that this didn't exist and this was my first time. When you have a blank canvas, what I suggest doing is, if you have your thumbnail sketches, you can have that out next to you as well, if that helps. I'm gonna show you guys this. This was my pretend postcard, and if I took the middle, it will kind of help me to see, okay, my T is probably what's gonna start on my center line, so let's eyeball this and think my T, or my center line's right there, so I'm gonna start my thinking right here. Thank you. So I'm gonna start it right there. I'm gonna angle myself, is that better? Okay. So I'm gonna draw this kind of at a line or an angle. When you are painting, I'm using my round 0 for right now because my lettering's a little bit smaller. So when you're doing this, if you look, you'll notice that it kind of disappeared right here. So when you're painting with gouache, it might do that. And so what you could do is just overlap and make it more saturated. Gouache is an opaque version of watercolors. And so the more water, making up new words, the more water you add, I just combined the words. The more water you add, the more transparent your paint will be. So that's why that happens. But we do need it to be a more liquid or a more watered down version in order to paint with it. So because of that, you might just have to go over it a few times, especially because you have such a dark color underneath. So That's why you might need to overlap it a few times. I think I added, so what happened was when I did this, I added a loop right here. So what I did was yes, this is what I did. I wrote thinking first. Also, I didn't even say we're writing thinking of you, but if you have a different quote that you want to do, you can completely do that. I just thought, when people say, I have a few very special friends who will text me and just say like thinking of you, and maybe I hadn't talked to them for a few days, and just that phrase, it kind of puts you back into reality and realize that there are other people thinking of you, even if you might not realize it. So I thought this would be perfect for Vicky, to know that even though we may not know her, we're thinking of her and creating this art for her. So let me finish this out. When I am doing thinking, or when I do my Ks, I actually sometimes don't connect my Ks, all personal preference. So that's why you see that that's not connected. Okay. I'm gonna keep going. Keenan can fast forward. I'm gonna write of you. Then we can fast forward this part.
Okay.
Okay, after we sped through, the part that I wanted to talk to you guys about on the K really quickly was I did my K like that, but then I realized that there was this negative space here, and I also have this loop. So when I connect my T to an H, this is just personal thing that I like to do, is I connect them to make a loop. So I'm gonna do a similar thing, and I'm gonna add a loop to the top of my K, so it mimics it. Okay, 1, 2, fun bonus for you guys. I'm gonna show you how to make rose gold. Magic. All you do is, this is my gold. It's not that watery. And I'm going to take my magenta, use it as my water. Mix it through. You have rose gold.
Have you ever had rose soda?
No.
It's gross.
I've had rosé, but not rose.
It tastes like roses.
Oh.
It's yucky.
Drinking,
some people like it.
That doesn't sound very yummy. Okay. It's not like rose soda then. Rose gold, which I love the color, because if you're looking at this, this is more yellow gold and this is rose gold. So I thought, let's just write Vicky's name. This can be a very simple one if you're making a card for someone else. Just write their name. They will be so impressed because it's gold. Little trick. Okay. When I'm doing her name, so it's the same thing. I decided, I think I was playing with when I was thinking this, just to talk you guys through this really quickly. I did this one vertical. Postcards can be either way. And I thought about it, so I naturally was gonna do the postcard the same way, but I realized her name isn't that long. I could have fit it if you wanted to do that, if you had a longer name. What you'd have to do is you have to make your letters skinnier and tall. It doesn't have to be taller, but skinnier, so you kind of squish them together to fit. But I decided I'm just gonna do this one horizontal. And the other thing with, when you're using gold gouache, if it's too scratchy and not as easy to paint with, that means you need more water. So add a little bit more water, or in this case, maybe add a little bit more red. And then if it's too watery, so it's too transparent, let's see, I went over this a few times. So if it's too transparent, and even for this one, if you saw the dots, which is okay, if it's too transparent, add more gold gouache to it. So the other thing I wanted to say is when you're doing this, I am lettering, it's really apparent, especially on this one, we're lettering stroke by stroke. So instead of drawing the I and then drawing the C, I personally like to draw it as a one continuous motion to start it off, and then I overlap back over. That's just a personal tip. You don't have to do that. I just want to explain what I'm doing so you guys can learn. But Keenan can fast forward through this part too, because I'm just talking. Is that cheating?
I don't know.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I don't know how I'm looking at you.
Maybe we're not fast forwarding. Okay, I'll keep talking. Because I thought of something. You will want to, if you're used to painting or lettering with watercolors, you will actually want to have more ink on your brush when it's fully loaded. So when you're looking at this, you'll notice that there's a big clump right there. In watercolor, I say that's actually probably more of a no-no, but when you have gold gouache, you want actually a lot more on there. So if I were to paint, especially when you're doing a thick downstroke, so if I were to paint, it's nice because it just has a lot right there. So if that's the case and I ran out, I'm just gonna overlap back over it. That's a trick for when you're doing this. So yeah, that might be a little bit too much. So I'm gonna just take a little bit off. So thick on the down, then on the up. I completely ran out. It's all good. I'm gonna trace it back over like that. Okay, 2 done. Last one. If you don't have gold, I gotcha. You can just use watercolor. This is dry, and I'm just gonna fold it back over.
If you could push that.
Okay, if it helps, you can even tape it down. Because it's so buckled that might help. Okay. I am going to use magenta. And trick that I wanted to tell you guys with this one. I decided to have thinking of on the first line, but that was actually an accident, or it was a making lemons out of lemonade, making lemonade out of lemons.
Yes.
I always get those backwards. Anyways, the point is that I get a lot of questions on, especially for layout, how do you center things? What if I make a mistake? It's not a mistake, you can make things work. So what happened was I was actually originally thinking of doing thinking in the center on the top line on itself. But when I was writing this, I started too far over, which I'll do again. I'll just walk you through what I was thinking of doing. I want to have thinking in the center. However, if I were to start over here too far, and I wrote thinking, I'm just using watercolors. I'm actually not even dipping into my water. So if this is you and you draw thinking and you had wanted that to be centered and it's not, it's okay. We have another word. I originally was gonna do of, what was I gonna do on this one? I think I was gonna do of you on this one line and have that just be bigger. But it's all good because I'm just gonna, luckily this was a small word. I'm gonna make it work. Maybe that F needs to be a little bit longer. And put it on that line. Then I really want to try and center you. And you'll notice that this is a lot thicker of a line than this, and I still made it with this tiny brush. What I did was I just pushed a lot harder to use the belly of the brush. So it's amazing how thick you can get a line. So I'm gonna look, trying to visualize how big I should make my O. How thick of a line you can get. Also, I did this line and then I cheated and I did that line that way. It's okay, you can do that. I do that when I have such a big O because it's such a big space. It's just easier for me. Like that. If you cramp up, it's okay. If you want to make this even darker. So I love watercolors. Actually, I'm going to leave it because I just want you guys to see. Is the saturation changed a lot. So it started because I had a lot more on my brush when it was loaded and it got thicker and then it got a lot lighter up here. But I actually like that. So it's not perfectly centered, but care. Last time what happened was my U was a little bit more, so I added an exclamation point. If I added it right now, I don't really think it needs it. The last thing that I did was I just did a really thin shadow. So my light source is from the right, and then it's casting a little shadow. Also, you know what's epic? Can they see that? I had gold. It's a little shimmery right there.
Yep.
Well, all good. Got watercolors everywhere. You can add maybe you add a border to this, you add some leaves around it. You can have fun. How did I do on timing? Did I make it?
28 minutes.
Dang it. Really? We paused.
But the intro, it might be 15.
Okay, well I hope that I was close. But that was just a quick little lesson on making cards for Vicky. I wanted to incorporate gold and also show you how to do washes. Again, these are really simple cards. Maybe it takes 20 minutes, 22 minutes instead of 15 minutes. I hope you had fun. Again, if you're just tuning in and watching the end, this is a Let's Make Art Matter for the month of August for Vicky. If you'd like to send her a postcard along with our Let's Make Art community, email us at hello@letsmakeart.com and we will send you her address. Okay, thanks guys.